Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. My name is Matt Rocco, president of the South Florida Manufacturers Association. On behalf of my organization, our staff, our board, Florida Makes, and especially Expert Shutters, we welcome everybody today to our virtual plant tour. This is the first one that SFMA is doing, so please give us your feedback. We'll have many more scheduled, but this is the first of the series that we're doing, so we're really excited for you all to be here today. We have a really nice mix of attendees that are with us this afternoon. Joining us, as always, are manufacturers, those that support the manufacturing industry, and some of the high schools are with us today in the territory that SFMA serves. So we're really excited to have the high schools with us, with students. It's really great to have you with us today. We all know what a great industry manufacturing is and the great career opportunities. So this will be a great opportunities for the students to be here today. For the teachers that are with us, I believe that students are with you in the classroom. So if you could, in the chat box, just type your school name and how many students are with you. We'd love to see how many are there. This is a great day. Expert Shutters is not only a outstanding manufacturers that you'll see, but also they were the 2020 Manufacturer of the Year in their respective category and also a finalist for the statewide award. So this is a great opportunity for all of us to really see what makes them a dynamic company. Just a few housekeeping items just to go over. If you're having any technical difficulties, please use the chat box to share with us what's happening so one of our members can address that. Also, if you have questions throughout the presentation today, please submit those questions in the Q&A box. You'll see that right there below me and down bottom of your screen. We'll get questions answered today, and if we run out of time, we'll get some of your questions addressed here as well. Just a few quick brief points here on the SFMA. We are the official one of the official regional manufacturing associations in the state of Florida, one of 13, an official representative of Florida Makes, the Florida Makes network throughout the whole state of Florida. And really the goal for us is how do we help manufacturers holistically on a process of engagement to really help companies address some of the current challenges, create new opportunities for growth, achieve measurable results. If you haven't yet taken advantage of Florida Makes, go ahead and do that. Reach out to your business advisors. The results are amazing. Also, October marks Manufacturing Month in the state of Florida, so we are on the tail end of it, but it's a great thing to do today to have a virtual tour to end Manufacturing Month with a bang. We'll have some more after Manufacturing Month, but we're also here today to help you change your perception of what it means to work in manufacturing, what it means to be in a great career. So especially having the schools with us today, it's a great opportunity for them to really see what who manufacturer is and what it is. The agenda today is simple, but it'll be a jam-packed hour. We want to focus on who Expert Shutters is as a company. What are the best practices? Why manufacturing is a great career choice? And we're going to hear a lot of that. But importantly, we're going to see a video that was created to illustrate Expert Shutters. And then we'll take questions from the audience. So what we really love to do is always give a little bit about the company, who they are, what makes them great. Let's see them in action. Let's take questions. So let's get started. So we are here today with Mike Heisenberg from Expert Shutters and his team. Again, 2020 Manufacturer of the Year. So Mike, just a couple questions. What makes Expert Shutters such a strong manufacturer? Maybe you can share that with us.
Well, it's a lot of things. First of all, I just want to say it's a pleasure to be part of this. We're just so excited to be part of this virtual tour, and we were very anxious to hear your questions and to help us in any way that we can. But as far as Expert Shutters goes, we started about 32 years ago, and during those years, we developed new products, we developed new machinery, we developed new processes along the way. And as the company grew and the number of people that we needed to help run the organization, the culture began to change quite a bit. And we began to look towards help through our industry and through different channels. And South Florida Manufacturers Association was one of the best resources that we found and helped us along the way. But we were able to really, have been really able to give back to the employees and create a culture that makes it an exciting place to come to work. There's a lot of changes happening, a lot of updating of machinery and processes, and it's great to be a part of that when you can see that there's growth, there's potential, there's opportunity for the workers to start out at maybe an entry level and work their way into a supervisory position in a fairly brief period of time. Gives them a lot to look forward to. And that culture has really developed over the past 5 years, and we feel it's still developing and still gaining momentum. But tremendous change in the perspective of the employee and their role here in the company, and it's been so exciting to see the changes occurring and the excitement developing.
Wonderful. We have some questions in the chat. We'll try to address a few of those before we do the video. But yeah, if you could maybe share, a lot of our members love to hear about where a company was in the past, where they are today, what it took for them to get to where they are today. So if you could maybe share a little bit about, some of the successes that you've had or some of the best practices that you've maybe implemented in Expert Shutters, those that you can share, but some of the best practices you've implemented in Expert Shutters, really, from where you were 4 years ago to where you are today, because you were a Manufacturer of the Year winner among your category. And I know we had, we started out with 80 nominations. We ended up with 20-something finalists or semifinalists to 16 finalists, and you were the winner out of the four companies in your category. But there's something you want to share with the group, could be for the students here, but especially our manufacturers that are always looking to see how they can continually improve.
Yeah, well, there's a lot there. So first of all, we started 32 years ago, small desk in a garage, started the company, and we've grown now to about 85 employees. And during that time period, again, we were able to develop new products, new processes. We're considered one of the leaders in our industry. And through that process, for example, we developed a new accordion shutter back in 2003, and it's still the #1 selling accordion shutter in the United States today. And we've also developed some other products that are doing very, very well throughout our industry. And as far as best practices go, as we've moved along, we've been able to learn from other companies, and we've also had some best practices that have been homegrown, if you will. But some of the ones we like the most are some of the incentives for the employees. For example, about 2 years ago, we developed a program that basically helped someone get a start. So we raised our wages across the board about 20%. We added additional benefits, additional vacation time, additional 401k plans, other things to help our employees. But we have an accelerated program that they are able to come on board at a higher wage, and then they're able to, they're guaranteed certain increases in a very short period of time to get them up to a very comfortable living wage. And that's helped tremendously, because we don't want to see people, in dead-end jobs where they don't see the advancement. We want them to see the opportunity, want them to see the advancement that can take place. And so this accelerated pay scale helps get them up to a very comfortable wage very, very quickly. So we've seen that that's been a very good practice for us. We've also, we're somewhat of a seasonal company. So our busiest time of the year is during the summer months, the hurricane months, if you will. And so we've also offered bonuses for all the employees during that time period. So they have to stay through that period. So they have to be here the entire length of it, and then they'll receive that bonus. And that's helped tremendously too, because the last thing we want when we're super busy is to have any kind of turnover. And a lot of those things have helped tremendously with loyalty and reduced turnover tremendously. And so we're quite excited about some of those programs. And it seems like the more we give to our employees, the more we do our best for them, they do their best for us. So it's definitely been a win-win for us all the way across the board. But the employees are really the main focus. We can buy new equipment, we can improve processes, but if we don't have great people to run the organization, we've got nothing. So we're really focused very, very heavily on the the human resources, the employees themselves.
Wonderful. And you bring up a great aspect of employees. By my quick math, I saw in the chat box that it looks like there's well over 200 students today. This is amazing. And I see sitting next to you are your two sons, Mike Jr. and Chris, if I see that correctly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Maybe if you all could share for the students, what makes manufacturing such a great career choice? I know the state data says the average wage in the state of Florida, the average is $60,000 for a manufacturing career, which is great. But tell us kind of from the heart, what makes manufacturing such a great industry to work in and grow in? You could.
Okay. For me, I think, everybody learns differently. And I think there's a great majority of people that need to be hands-on. And being in a classroom setting is tough for some people. So being able to be hands-on and we've kind of lost trade schools, it's kind of a thing of the past. So, being able to come in entry level, be able to work with your hands and kind of be able to sit there one-on-one and learn a position and be able to work up from there is very beneficial. I think, sitting in a classroom in a day and age where everything's a lot more fast-paced, nobody's used to that anymore. We can't slow down and sit there for hours and hours and hours in front of a desk, in front of a blackboard. It just doesn't work anymore.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And manufacturing, and I think we'll probably see it in the video, but there's got to be a design element to what you all do, right? With the shutters and the configuration, and there's technology involved, and there's a lot of programs that they're learning in school, whether it's AutoCAD or whatever it might be, for it. But maybe if you could share a little bit about that, because there's, for those that love that type of work, they may not think that that's involved in manufacturing, right?
Yeah. Well, we've got several things. First of all, the products we manufacture here, we developed, tested, and were approved by the state. We manufacture so almost everything in our warehouses, all the components, all the anchors, fasteners, all the procedures to build the products have all been designed and been managed here in our organization. Some of the products that we manufacture and have designed are also being manufactured in other countries through licensing and through other opportunities. Some of the machinery and some of the technology, for example, we have a lot of wholesale customers that will send their orders to us. The orders will be processed. They'll be nested, if you will, which is grouping them together. And then they're optimized, which is optimization software that looks to gain the best yield from the materials. And so we have people that are working on just that, trying to figure out through the software what the best course of action is, what the best materials that we can utilize, sizes, et cetera, to try to gain greater yield. And so, for example, we've been able to take our product that used to get about 92% yield out of our raw materials. And some of the products, we're at 98% yield out of those materials. So trying to refine those processes. And some of the machinery that we have out here is state of the art. The saws that we run will then take the CSV files that are created through the optimization software, and they'll tell the operator what materials they need to pull to basically place into the saw. The saw does all the rest of the work. It pushes the material towards the saw blade, clamps, cuts the material, pushes it out the other side, labels it. And then those labels are used for the production as well as packaging and shipping. So it becomes quite intricate. And to give you some idea, on a daily basis, we cut, assemble, manufacture, and ship combined components of about 6,000 individual pieces of aluminum, as well as all the hardware that goes along with that. And every one of them is cut to size. Everything is custom built. So, and in 4 different colors. So there's a lot going on at any given time. We use AutoCAD for a lot of the design work on the shutters. We have some CNC machines that are doing some of the layout work and some of the cutting. And so the business is getting more technological year by year, we're seeing, different machinery and different processes.
Added a 3D printer this year.
Yeah, we added a 3D printer this year for prototyping for when we're developing new products, so we can, instead of waiting for a component to come back from a CNC machine shop, we can actually produce it here on a 3D printer. That's helped tremendously. Thank you, Mike. So go ahead.
One of the questions, Mike, someone had in the chat. We have a few questions that came in. I'll take a few, and then we'll show the video that we wanted to play for everybody. One question is, do you hire design engineers for your college degree graduates?
That's a really good question. We do have some like Matt, who's our IT director. He is definitely one of our shining stars here, and he was hired in specifically for that role. Most of the other people that are working throughout the company have been homegrown, and they vary in degree of education, if you will. But we haven't had the need to specifically go out and look for that career, that specifically that college graduate for a specific role as of yet. But we do feel that in the future we will need certain positions, especially with the AutoCAD and designing new products. That's going to be our main focus over the next couple of years. So we will be looking towards that. I haven't had to do it so much yet, but we are looking for the future, and we will be looking for those types of people to come on board with us.
Wonderful. Another question was about the shutter industry. Has it been impacted by the growth of the impact industry, right? When you think about it, impact windows.
Yes.
So how affected at all?
That's a kind of loaded question. So the industry itself has definitely been affected by it, especially when it comes to new construction. But almost all existing construction seems to fall back on the tried and true method of hurricane shutters. You'll see people replacing windows to impact windows, but I would say 90% of the time they're still staying with the shutter products, if you will. But what we've also seen is our industry is changing. So we manufacture for about 120 different shutter companies throughout the U.S. So companies have diversified a little bit more. So a lot of them are doing windows and shutters. And instead of manufacturing their shutters, they're looking towards singular manufacturers like ourselves to produce the shutters for them. So although the industry has actually shrunk to some degree, our business continues to expand. Other areas, some of the products that we manufacture, for example, our rolling shutter and rolling screen is ideal for large lanais for very high-end homes. And we sell a tremendous amount of them just for that specific application. So although the whole home might be protected with impact glass, they still lean towards the roll shutter and rolling screen for the patio. Our rolling shutter is also used for security purposes. So we're seeing more and more call for it as a security door product. We've seen the kind of craziness that's been going on in 2020. So it's actually seen an increase for our product to be called for in the security door market.
Like, I think you mentioned talk about the impact windows one time, and I could be wrong, but that more and more people are shying away from the impact windows because if a mower is out on the lawn and a rock flies out and it hits the glass, even though the surface of the glass shattered, the whole thing has to be replaced with something running a film.
That's correct, and technically it's because of energy efficiency. It's not just impact glass anymore. You actually have double pane glass. So you have an impact layer of glass, and then you have a standard piece of glass, and there's gas in between, which gives it its thermal properties. Thank you. But the regular piece of glass is on the outward side, and that's so if it gets impacted, the glass the shards don't go flying through the house. But because that sacrificial piece, if you will, is on the outside, it's very prone to destruction, basically. Either a mower throwing a rock, or even during a hurricane, you can envision a lot of outside glass getting broken, and then the entire window has to be replaced, and it gets very expensive. We've also seen a shift in coastal properties, specifically ones along the the sandy beaches. The glass itself, they put in very expensive high-end impact glass and without any shutters, and then the sand itself begins to sandblast the glass. So you end up with glass that looks like it's etched. So a lot of the high-end homes are actually going back to hurricane shutters just to protect the glass from the sand when they're not using the home in the winterized months, if you will.
Interesting. And one final question before we show the video. One person asked, it was one of the first questions, so I want to address it. How have, if any, tariffs, have they impacted you all at all, if any?
Small degree. Some of the products, some of the components that we purchase are coming from overseas, and some of them are being produced from steel and other materials that do have tariffs that come along with them. Fortunately, the bulk of our material, which is our aluminum components, come from the United States. Nearly everything that we produce here in the building comes from Gainesville, Georgia, a plant that's in Gainesville, Georgia, an extruder, if you will. So we don't see the tariffs on the bulk of the materials that we're buying.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think everybody on the virtual call here today is probably itching to see who is Expert Shutters. Let's see them in action. We could share the video that Mike wants to share with everybody. Amanda, if you could play that for us.
Yeah.
Well, that was a outstanding video on expert shutters holistically for the students here. I mean, what a great place to work. What a great industry. As you saw some employees, really what it meant to be working in manufacturing, working at expert shutters. We have another video we want to play, but I want to take maybe one or two questions before that. Actually, a question came from a student. They had a Wi-Fi issue earlier, so they are on with us today now. But how are you handling the pandemic? So, a question regarding the pandemic. So, how are you handling this pandemic issue with your employees or employers? Are jobs at a loss or employees on paid leave? So, I guess the question is, what's happening with your employees? Are they furloughed? Are they working full time? Just an update.
Okay. I'll take it. Well, actually, when the pandemic first started, we were really nervous. We saw a dip in sales. We thought about shutting the doors for a month and seeing what things were like. And we kind of put our heads together, and we're glad we didn't. We would have put ourselves really behind the eight ball as far as business goes, as far as our orders go, as far as getting our orders to our customers, especially before hurricane season. We put our heads together and decided, what can we do to make it safe? What can we do to keep our employees working? What can we do to not lay off some employees, not furlough employees? So we put our heads together. We said, what we're going to do is we're going to try to space everybody out as much as possible. So we, even in the offices, we took our desks, we moved them, further than 6 feet apart. We even used our showroom to put desks in. We gave everybody hand sanitizer. We made everybody wear masks. We play a PSA over the loudspeaker every hour to remind them to wash their hands, to remind them to use hand sanitizer. We have a full-time janitor that he was doing building maintenance, and he was working on maintaining different things and keeping things clean. And then so we basically tasked him to every hour that he's here is to clean doorknobs, go through and spray Lysol, everything we can do to keep things safe. We took our HR director and we had him coming in first thing in the morning and taking everybody's temperature and making sure that nobody was having symptoms of COVID. And we have had our run-ins with COVID. We've had a couple people test positive. And when that happens, we take all the precautions we can. We isolate those people, send them home, make sure that they're getting the testing they're supposed to be getting, making sure they get 2 negative tests before they come back. They're out at least 14 days. So we're doing everything we can to keep people safe and keep people working. So it's been a struggle, but it's 2020. So we're making it happen.
Wonderful, thank you. And for the students on the virtual plant tour today, one thing you'll come to realize: manufacturers are creative, resilient, and they can pivot pretty quickly just by the nature of what they have to do. So Expert Shutters is a shining example of that, how to really pivot during COVID and still have their employees safe but working. One other question was asked earlier, so I want to make sure this one gets addressed. Do you train in Lean and Six Sigma?
Yes. Our main focus in the shop, if you walk the shop floor, you'll see the signage, you'll see the work areas. They're focused on lean manufacturing. Some of the training we'll be doing this winter will be focused solely on lean manufacturing. That is a must. The work areas have to be organized and kept in a certain way. And we have to constantly look at processes and ways that we can improve to reduce, first of all, material costs, but also wear and tear on the employees. If we can, we're constantly looking at those processes and trying to always focus on that lean manufacturing. So great question.
Yeah, really good question. And I saw a few other really great questions that I know we will address. Amanda, if we could share or show the second video for this plant tour, and then we'll round out the rest of the time we have together. We have about 20 minutes left. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. And let's show that second video. And then for those, again, the icon to the left, the little audio icon to the left, if you click that, if you're having issue hearing it, you can hear it from that.
Services. The company was founded 32 years.
That's another awesome video to really highlight some of the stuff that Mike and his team talked about, the best practices, where they were when they started, where they are today. So great video we wanted to share with you. And we'll move quickly here into the last part of our agenda, which is really to follow up on some great questions that were asked. One that came in is, I want to consider a career in manufacturing, not a job. So they want to consider manufacturing a career, not just a job. So if that's someone's of interest, what would be your recommendations?
Sure. Well, we actually see a lot of turnover, and it's people look at manufacturing as just a job. They don't look at it as a career, and that's something that's really changing throughout our industry, throughout the manufacturing industry. And you could make manufacturing a career. Because people look at it as just a job, you can have very quick advancement in manufacturing. And I know manufacturing and it's had a bad rep for a long time, and it's really starting to blossom now, especially with us trying to bring more jobs to the U.S. And not buy so much from other countries, and that's why the tariffs are being placed on other countries. But you can get a very good career in manufacturing. You just got to stick it out. You got to keep your head down. You got to work hard. You got to, show up to work on time, be diligent, show your value, show how you can increase your value, keep learning more things, push the status quo. I think one of our biggest things is getting from our employees what they could do better, what we could do better, how we can improve our processes. They're a fresh set of eyes every time we get a new employee, and they can really, they might not have been in our industry, but they were in a different industry and they did things a certain way, and we've never experienced that, and we've never learned what they do. So getting new, fresh eyes and a new, fresh mindset a lot of times helps us grow. And we like to have those people come on board, and we can teach them, they can teach us, and you can make a career out of manufacturing. I have, and I have a degree in accounting. I have a degree in business management. I have a degree in criminal justice. And I think I've used a little bit of every one of them in this job, but manufacturing, I like just being hands-on. I like working with my hands, teaching people, learning things, building things. And it's been a great career for me.
And that's some great points too, because when you think about manufacturing, what you all are doing, and other manufacturers too, by that right, but think about what you all do. You all have, an impact. I mean, we're talking about you make shutters and things, but the impact you have on people, you're protecting their homes. So that's also a pride factor that goes into it as well. So those that are looking for that type of career, a lot of what manufacturers do affect people and the things that we use. So it's a great thing. Another really good question that came in a while ago, I wanted to make sure I addressed it. What is the matrix to be a top manufacturer? Exactly what items are reviewed to be a top priority?
Take that. Good. Well, the main things is really, I think, how you treat your people is the first and foremost. Again, you can have machinery, you can have your materials, but unless you've got good people and they're trained well and you're working together as a team, you don't have much. So the people are the main focus. And I think that for any manufacturer to be top in their field or their industry, they really have to develop a culture in their organization that promotes a healthy environment for the employees. They should feel that they have a say-so over the way that the company is run. They should be able to be involved in some of the decision making. Right now, we're getting ready to embark on a tremendous amount of training this winter in our slower months that involve everyone from the company, from top to bottom. We hope that this year we've got our eyes focused on OSHA 10, and we want to see every single employee OSHA 10 trained. And we want to continue to give them the skills and the ability and the opportunities to continue to grow. And I think that's what makes a company great. Now, developing new products, being skilled at what you do, being able to develop new processes and continue to grow as a company, it definitely is going to put you in the front as a leader in your industry. But again, I think it's back to the people. It has to be the main focus.
I'm going to piggyback off that a little bit. And then secondly, I think is just documentation. I mean, there was so many things when South Florida Manufacturing Association came in here, and they asked us a lot of difficult questions, and we had a lot of answers, but nothing to really back it up. We've been running, like we said, we've been in business 32 years, and we have a lot of things in place, but a lot of the processes aren't written down anywhere. They're kind of, tribal knowledge, and having those written down and having safety programs actually, in a book, and all of those processes that that are on the floor of things that training, how those training things work, the SOPs and everything that goes along with a business has to be written down. KPIs, all these different variables that we really don't, that you might have in the back of your head, but not written down. Those things, when they're documented, it makes it a lot more accessible for you and your employees. And I think that was the biggest thing, making everything, not just your knowledge for you guys, but transparent for all your employees to see as well.
Excellent. And maybe if you could share with the group, because the question was just asked about it, the process you all went through for Manufacturer of the Year. Someone asked, is product a top issue? It's more on a process versus product. So if you could maybe share a little bit about the process you went through in order to prepare for the on-site visit of Manufacturer of the Year.
Well, initially, the companies that are nominated first receive a phone call, and they go through a fairly rigorous phone conference. And you have to, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit. You have to submit your application, which goes through a lot of rigorous questions. And then you get the phone call, which goes through even more rigorous questions. And then they set up a plant tour, plant visit for them to come inside. And so you have several examiners that come in as a group, and each one is focused on a separate area of the business, leadership, strategy, safety. They all each have their own aspects that they're looking at in your organization, and they each ask some very difficult questions. And so as they begin to dig deeper into the business, it becomes clear whether or not the processes are there or they're not there, whether the programs are set up or not, what their culture's like. And so it really is very eye-opening because you get a fresh perspective from the South Florida Manufacturing Association to come in, look at your business, and ask these tough questions. And it really got us thinking. And for about a 2-year period there, we were on this growth spurt, and we were also at the same time basically doing everything we could to make sure that our best practices and our processes were in check. And things like continuity plans and SOPs and KPIs, as we talked about, those were things that we did or had a plan, let's say, but wasn't really formalized. And so it really helped us to drive us, to get us there. And so it just helped tremendously.
And we actually didn't win our first year. We were actually runners up our first year back in 2019. And in 2020, we won, but we kind of had an idea of what they were looking for. But it was more about, from 2019, we were able to get a lot of feedback from South Florida Manufacturers Association, which helped us out tremendously in knowing what we really could do better. We thought we were doing great, but when that association tells you, this is what the best practice in the industry is doing, it definitely allows you to change course a little bit and go the direction that a lot of other bigger, more successful companies are going, and it helps you go in the right direction as well.
It also put us in touch with a lot of great people, both companies within our industry or even outside our industry, but that were association members that helped to guide us and help us show best practices. This year was also an examiner and worked with the South Florida Manufacturers Association, going into other companies and examining their best practices, and great stuff. Really showed us so much about what other companies are doing, and it helped us tremendously. So I would, being able to see other companies and see other best practices probably helped us the most, to be honest.
Wonderful. Thank you. A great question. What are you looking for on a resume?
Well, you don't want to have a lot of turnover. That could hurt you. What we're really looking for, and it could be even somewhere right out of high school. The biggest thing for me is, especially, I'm a big English guy, almost got my English degree, but typos. I don't want to see any typos. Those are really faux pas. Nobody wants to see them. Spend the time, look at your resume, make sure there's no typos, make sure all your information's correct. I know it sounds funny, but do your research. I think I saw a study that said the number one thing that turns businesses off from an employee on their resume is their email address. If it's something childish or something immature or unprofessional, so that's something easy to fix, and you can put a professional email, on your resume. I think just precise information, what you've done in the past, what your responsibilities were at your other jobs, so that what some of your strengths and some of your weaknesses are. Touch on your weaknesses too. It makes you self-aware that we know that you have things that you need to work on, but we might look at those weaknesses and look at them and say, they're not that bad, and we can get them to the next level.
Also, you put contact information down, you kind of expect a phone call then. There's so many times we reach out and they answer the phone, yo, 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 and it's right there. And then it's kind of, I kind of, at that point, I've already put that first initial contact has already put a bad taste in your mouth.
But as far as the employee himself and their work history, and we're looking for people who have, a healthy, clean background. We look for people that we feel will become an asset to the company. And so we see things within their history and their background. Sometimes it's difficult for people that are just starting out. But if they have any work history, you want to make sure that they've left their previous employment on good terms. You want to make sure that they don't have outstanding blemishes on their background, things that are going to more than likely disqualify them from getting started in the first place.
And for the high school students listening right now, you might not have a lot of experience, but as a reference, teachers go a long way. So if you can put down a teacher as a reference, it makes a big difference.
That's a great point, because a lot of students will say, how do I get a job? How do I get ahead? I have no experience. What can I do? I hear from a lot of employers that in the way things are today, if we see something in that student or that young individual, especially for entry-level jobs, and we see they're coachable, they're trainable, they've got great soft skills, they can look you in the eye, they can speak well, they can carry themselves. Are you all of the opinion that we would
Losing you.
Oh, can you hear me better?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. The question was, a lot of times students will say, well, how do I get ahead? I don't have much of experience. I'm coming out of high school. If someone's applying for, entry-level position or something like that, and if you see that they're coachable, they're trainable, would you, almost prefer to hire them and train them as long as they have that soft skills, they've got that credibility and things like that? Is that something that you look for as well? Take a chance on someone?
As someone who does a lot of hiring, I don't look for necessarily, a big job history. Especially sometimes that just gives them time to learn bad practices. That gives them time to learn, from maybe a competitor of ours, and they don't do things the way So I think sometimes having someone who's fresh and who's never done it before actually is a positive. But as long as I think the biggest thing is willingness. Someone who wants to learn, someone who's hungry to learn new things, someone who wants to be here, someone who wants to make a career out of it, someone who's not just using it as a stepping stone. They're not going to be here for 2 months and leave. Businesses spend a lot of money to train people, and we want them to stay. And so we're looking for people that are gonna stick it out.
Sure.
Hey, Matt, do you think we'll have time for that last video? Because that last video was a pretty good one, I think, if we were able to.
Yeah, let's share that video if we could, and those that may have to drop off will drop off.
Perfect.
One thing I wanted to share with the group before those that have to leave at 2:30 have to leave, and this is something that might be of interest to the students as well. November 12th is our 60th anniversary or 60th annual meeting. It's virtual, but this is a really good opportunity for those that are interested. There's an opening and keynote ceremony by the president and CEO of Florida Power and Light, Eric Szilagyi. There's a virtual trade show. So there's a really great opportunity to enter that virtual exhibit hall, really see all the companies that are showcasing who they are, what they make, what services they provide. Right now we have about 45 companies that will be showcasing, and Expert Shutters, you'll be one of them also. And there's different breakout sessions on numerous topics: safety, human resources regarding diversity and inclusion, digital strategies to optimize your business. Florida Makes is doing one on resources for manufacturers. There's about 7 or 8 different topics. And then our 60th anniversary program video will be at the end of the evening, which will really highlight our association, where we are today. Some nostalgia will be in there. It's a great opportunity for the schools that are with us. I'll again talk to Mr. Payne, because I know he arranged all of this for you. We've got a special code for students, so we would love to have the students attend. For everyone else, the website for our annual meeting, so for more of a holistic picture, is sfma.org/annual meeting. Mike Moore, I know you're on a committee. If you're still in the venue here, if you could just type in that address for everybody in the chat, sfma.org/annual meeting. It's a really high-level event, and we love to have as much participation as possible. But yeah, man, if we could show that last video, and then we'll kind of wrap it up from here or from there. Awesome. Another great video there. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see if we had any other final questions that came in while this was playing. I think just a lot of great advice that was provided to the students. A question here about students who are working on their resumes. Great stuff here. I think someone even mentioned they'd love to come up and see you all. So we'll have to maybe schedule an in-person plant tour once we can safely get out. I think that must be all the questions we've answered. Thank you, Mike, for typing in. It's sfma.org /annual meeting. So sfma.org /annual meeting. It's a really fun event every year. And even it being virtual, it's a real robust experience. There'll be a lot of great things that you'll be able to learn, take away, visit, see, hear, especially for the students. It's a really great opportunity to learn about the different aspects of manufacturing. There are topics that are specifically related to manufacturing, some that you may not think are related to manufacturing, but it is. So feel free to do that, Mr. Payne. I will send you that link. Again, sfma.org /annual meeting. But other than that, on behalf of SFMA, our staff, Aaron Palazzolo, thank you. Florida Makes, thank you. And especially Expert Shutters. I think this was one heck of a session here. Really glad to see the students on, and we really hope that they took something away from this and opened their eyes to that manufacturing is not what people think it is. And we're actually going to be doing another student video contest. So Mr. Payne's on our Workforce Readiness Committee, so he'll be sending out some information to the schools pretty soon, but we're going to do another student video contest, way to change perception among the youth. But again, thank you all for attending today. We're about a minute over, and we like to be respectful of everyone's times. Mike Jr., Chris, thank you again for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Great job. Thank you.
You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.